good afternoon folks, and today you've found me on this. This is the Triumph Speedmaster. So thanks very much to Pidcocks for loaning me this bike. So we're going to take it out anyway, do about an hour's riding on it. I'll stop in a bit, do a bit of a walk around on her, have a look at it in a bit more detail. Very similar to the Bobber, it's based on the Bobber, a bit more heavy duty, and you can carry a pillion on this bike, whereas the Bobber you don't have that option. So this is a 1200cc engine in this, same as the T120. It's pretty basic, but it's really comfortable. The seat's really comfortable, cups your bum just nice, and the brakes are pretty effective as well. Like I say, I'm still trying to get used to this foot forward situation. This is not my style of bike. It's just this situation that, you know, with your feet forward like this, but it once you get going, it's quite comfortable actually. So these bars are the swept back bars as well, which also take a bit of getting used to. When you're used to having bars that are up here and then the bars come back to meet you like this, it's a little bit strange to get used to. It does turn exceptionally well actually. You sort of just look where you want to go and it deals with the bends and turns quite easily, especially being in this position. It thumps along, got a big parallel twin engine, but like I say, it is comfortable to ride. It's just not my type of bike. I'd say this is a Sunday morning off to the coffee shop, park it up outside and have a bit of a pose type of bike. It sounds nice. It does sound very nice. It's quite loud. It's got a, well, this is going to polarise opinion, I'm sure, but I think it's got a better sound than the Rocket. I think if the Rocket sounded more like this, those exhausts on that bike you can hardly hear when you get moving. So we've got a digital Rev Counter. Got to remember to put the bike in gear as well, because that's the other thing I keep forgetting to do. It's nice to be back out on a Triumph. It is a sort of bike that just wants to be ridden at a plodding pace. So if you're speed merchants and you like the horsepower, this is not the bike for you. But if you like to have a bit of a plod, and Sunday afternoon on the back lanes is your sort of idea of fun, then I would say this bike would suit you down to the ground. So £12,100 these are selling for. They come in 3 different colours. That's what I don't like about this this foot forward position. To me it feels really quite alien, but it is fairly comfortable I suppose. It just takes a bit of getting used to. It's got some nice pops and bangs from that exhaust. I don't know whether the microphone's picking those up, but it does sound pretty good. Throaty. So let's get her up to speed then, see what she's like at the higher speeds. So here we are, we're blatting along, we're doing 70 miles an hour in 6th gear at just about 3,000 revs. This is easy. This is all about the torque on this bike. I think brake horsepower is only about 77. So this was revamped in 2021 from the 2018 model, and there was a few things that they've changed about the bike, but one thing that they struggled with I think was brake horsepower thanks to Euro 5. So any changes and modifications to the engine because of the catalysts and everything else, they sort of dealt a bit of a blow to the horsepower. Having said that, this is, you know, This is not the sort of bike that you're going to go razzing around the streets on. This is a bike for just cruising on and being chilled out and laid back. Chilled back and laid out. But yeah, it does go. You wouldn't want to be tonning it on this bike. But it's like I say, you're missing the point. If that's the bike that you want, then it's not this one. It does turn nicely, handles really sweetly. All of the reviews that I read about this bike prior to riding it myself, while I was doing my research on it, they all said that the handling is spot on with this 2021 version. I don't know what the 2018 version was like, because I never rode that bike. But I have to say, the handling is quite sweet on this. So Ian was telling me that he doesn't like this swept back handlebar style, and I can see why. It's not for everybody. Ian's a lot taller than me and longer limbs, so I can see how you'd struggle. Probably make you feel a little bit hemmed in with your arms sort of scooched up. It doesn't really bother me, to be honest. I find it quite comfortable. Elbows are bent, so it's a really low bike, this, so we're quite low to the ground. 705mm seat height, so even people of diminutive stature would be quite comfortable on this, even though it's heavy. It's a very heavy bike. 200 and something, 265 is it? I think it's 245 dry. But anyway, whatever the weight is, it is a heavy bike, but because it's so low, the seat height is so low, you're absolutely fine with it. I'm not struggling at all. You don't even notice the weight. Most of that weight is very, very low down. So yeah, comfortable, easy to manage. So the indicators, they do need some positive input to get them on. Notice one or two times that I've hit the indicator switch and it's not come on. It's just one of those things that would require you getting used to it. The mirrors, just these round affairs, the Mickey Mouse affairs. Mickey Mouse in looks, not in actual. Look at that, there's a police van there, you little tinker. Just catch people coming over that flyover. It's the best thing about having your number plate on the back, isn't it? Sneaky sod. Yeah, it manages the bigger roads without any trouble at all. Like I say, you wouldn't really want to go over 70 odd miles an hour. It's not really a comfortable speed on a fully naked bike like this. But yeah, quite an easy bike to ride. The seat is nice and comfy. Walnut UF. So yeah, if I was on my Africa Twin now, I would just be blatting past everybody. But this bike makes you feel like you just don't need to ride like that. And I can't imagine you'd be very comfortable trying it. Let's get her back up to 70 again. Yeah, I really wouldn't want to be going any faster than this. Try and blow you off the back. So it's a nice, clean, easy clock layout. There's nothing too technical about it. I was still only in fourth coming up there. Yeah, nothing too technical about it. Oh yeah, it just wants to turn in, actually. Virtually falls into the corners. So just scroll through the dashboard with this information button here at my thumb. Trip 1, trip 2, or trip 2, trip 1, trip 2. It's miles currently. Oh, miles per gallon. That was telling me. So miles to fill it up, 76. Time 12:38. Revs. Current odo mileage 635 miles per gallon. So this is returning 52.8 miles per gallon at the moment. So modes, we've got road and rain on this bike. So obviously with that we've got fly-by-wire throttle. So it has got traction control and ABS, like most new bikes nowadays. So I think this is the sort of place where it would be ideally suited, this bike, on the back lanes. on a summer's day on the back lanes. Yeah, this is where it belongs. This is where it's most comfortable and you feel most comfortable riding it. Are these self-cancelling indicators? We shall see. I'll just leave it on, see if it does. No, they're not. But yeah, definitely on these back lanes, this is where this bike does feel most at home. So, let's get off and do you a bit of a walk around. So there it is, and I think you'll agree, it does look splendid. It's a splendid looking bike, isn't it? So this is the 2021 Speedmaster from Triumph. Not really my kind of bike, but I think you'll agree it looks absolutely fantastic. It's a beautiful looking bike, beautifully finished. Look at that badge. I don't think there's a better tank badge anywhere. So this engine is Euro 5 compliant, and as you can see down there, lurking is the catalyst. So those two pipes go into the catalyst box down there, and I think they merge back down here before going into the end cans. But it's a great looking machine. It's all about the torque with this bike. Lots of low end grunt on it, and it's got that nice big comfy seat with a lumbar support. And this one as well, unlike the bobber, has this bit of a pad for a pillion, so you can take a pillion on this bike as well, and that is removable. So if you don't want it on and you want it to look more like the bobber, you can remove that altogether. That seat itself is 705 millimeters. It's got two rider modes. It's got rain and road mode. It's got cruise control as standard. I'll show you the switch gear. So you've got your light adjustment there. The info switch just scrolls you through the information on your dashboard, and then your mode switch is on this side. There's the mode switch, the big grey one. Hazard warning lights as well. So it either comes in this colour, which is fusion white and sapphire black, which is my favourite. Now this is 350 quid extra on top of the purchase price. 12,100 according to Pidcocks, and then obviously if you want this colour tank, it's an extra 350 quid. There is also red hopper, which is also a lovely colour, but that's 200 quid extra. And then there's jet black, which is the standard colour, no extra charge for jet black. So 12 litre tank, which is not the biggest, I think you'll agree, but I don't think this bike will be seeing a lot of touring. I think it will mainly be used just for cruising around the back lanes on a sunny summer day, and then put back in the garage and polished to within an inch of its life. 12 litre tank, 60.9 miles per gallon claimed by Triumph. Maximum range 160 miles. I'm getting about 53 miles per gallon this morning, but that's what I mean. I didn't reset the clocks before I came out, so probably get a lot more than that actually. Also has switchable traction control, a USB socket which is somewhere, which I've not been able to find yet. 16-inch 32-spoke wire wheels front and rear, and a 2-year unlimited miles warranty. So it is part of the Bonneville range, along with the T100, T120, which I think is the same engine. It looks identical. The Street Twin, the Bobber and the Speedmaster, which this is. So the engine is a 1200cc high torque engine, generates peak torque at 3850 rpm through to 5750 rpm. It's Euro 5 compliant with a 270 degree firing order, as with all of the Bonneville range. It's liquid cooled, 8 valve single overhead cam, generates 76.9 brake horsepower in this iteration of the engine, which is only, I think, 1 horsepower more than the 28 edition, simply because of the Euro 5 restrictions on engines. And it generates 106 newton meters of torque at 4000 rpm. So all of its grunt really is lower end of the rev range, and then it probably runs out of puff quite quickly over 80 miles an hour. But it's like I say, you don't really want to be going those sort of speeds on this bike. It's not what it's designed for. This is designed for cruising around and looking cool. Front suspension, 47mm Showa cartridge forks. And then there's the monoshock rear suspension with a preload adjustment on it, which is sitting just under there. So right, I'm going to get back on it and ride it some more and try my hardest to look cool. Right, let's see if I can turn it around without dropping it. It is a big girl, she's a heavy lump, but the good thing about her is all that weight is really low down, and it makes me feel like I'm a daddy long legs. It is the sort of bike, though, I have to say, I'm not sure whether it's just me or whether it's my helmet or what it is. I'm getting an odd noise in my ears, an odd twitchy noise in my ears, which I could see, you know, if you're going out for quite a few miles, would be really quite annoying. I don't know what's causing that, actually. It's definitely coming from the bike, so I don't know whether it's just the pitch of the engine or what it is, but it's definitely there. She does want to go when you give her a tweak. It definitely goes, definitely. Oh yeah. Back lanes are where you belong, baby. Yeah, a sunny summer evening. Going out for a cruise on one of these. Finding a nice pub. Obviously it'd have to be nice and clean and polished, which this one isn't. Lovely pops and bangs. Even though there's those Euro 5 restrictions on it, they've still managed to get it popping and banging along. And it has got so much torque. Really, you could be in any gear you want. It just seems to be able to pull at any gear, in any gear. Country lane cruising. If you're the laid back, unhurried kind of person that doesn't want a thrash machine, doesn't want to do track days, you're just happy to own a bike, have it in the garage for high days and holidays, this could be the bike for you. The throttling's really nice and smooth on it. There's absolutely zero snatchiness there that I've noticed. Suspension is a little bit rudimentary with not being able to adjust the front forks. I'm not sure whether adjusting the rear suspension, I mean, that should make the ride a little bit pusher, but it's okay, really. You know, if you're not doing hundreds of miles. And the seat more than makes up for the lack of suspension, because it's really big and comfortable. My body is being well looked after. I'm quite mindful as well of these foot pegs, because they're quite low down. I'm quite mindful of actually catching them. So 50 miles an hour, let's just whack the cruise control on. So like I say, thanks again to all the boys and girls at Pidcock's Motorcycles for lending me this bike today. I'm always extremely grateful to those guys, because without them these videos would not exist. If you've got any questions about it, just let me know. I'll try my hardest to answer those questions for you. Anything that I can't answer, I'll bounce over to Ian, and Ian will be able to give me the gen. God. So one thing I did forget to tell you about this bike, it is 12,100 quid, which is in real terms about £2,000 cheaper than an entry-level Harley Davidson. So when you look at it in those terms, it's a bit of a bargain, really. So if you're interested in a cruiser type motorcycle and you don't want to pay Harley Davidson prices, maybe have a look at the Triumph range. So I'll just do a quick brake check as well. So rear brake, oh, that's really quite adequate actually. And front brake, yeah, when you give it a good hard squeeze it's properly there. I was trying to get back used to having an analog dial as well rather than my digital display that's on my bike. It's quite nice actually. Old school, which is what this bike's all about, isn't it? Old school. Proper retro. So there are bound to be things that I've missed out on this ride out on the Triumph Speedmaster, because it literally is just a couple of hours out, first time I've been on the bike, and just my initial thoughts as to what I think of it. And it's like the old adage nowadays that you just can't seem to buy a bad bike. They're all pretty decent, aren't they? Any new bike that you look at nowadays, they're all pretty decent. And bikes are all about, really, how they make you feel. And this one, it makes you feel how you're supposed to feel riding a cruiser. Chilled. Easy to find the gears as well. I've not had any trouble with this gearbox. Yeah, the gears are quite long, so you can be really lazy when you're riding the bike. It doesn't demand that you change gear at any particular time. And with the amount of torque that it's got, the long gears and the massive amounts of torque, well, it is a properly lazy ride if that's what you want. So I've been out on it for a couple of hours now. It's not uncomfortable. I can feel the pressure building on my backside. But like I say, it's far from being uncomfortable at the moment. 56, I'm getting 56 miles per gallon, so whoever was riding it before me was obviously giving it a lot more stick. I love that lazy, deep, throaty rumble, and then the pops and crackles on the overrun just sounds lovely. Triumph are knocking out some absolutely gorgeous bikes at the moment. I don't know whether any other dealer, any other manufacturer I mean, is quite as prolific as Triumph at the moment. I don't know any other dealer that's producing quite as many machines. Retros, modern, speedsters. Who else is producing as many as Triumph at the moment? Oh, I love that noise bouncing back off these walls. Yeah, so easy to stand up. Feet flat on the floor. Pegs well forward so they don't get in your way. Side stand easy to find because it's got that big lever on the side. Oh, lovely. That is gorgeous. That is just stunning. I'm in love.